Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Redhead Boo here, and yes, as you can tell, because I am wearing Disney ears, today's video, sadly, is going to be my final Disney Week video, and I know that this series has been going on since January, so it's turned out to be like Disney month rather than Disney week. But I really hope you have all enjoyed this series. I have loved, and when I say loved, I have loved filming it. Obviously all of the videos are doing really well, which is great to see, and yeah, just like doing the vlog obviously while I was out there, the haul, every single video has just put a huge smile on my face, and I hope that this one lives up to the expectations of the rest of the videos. So today I am going to be doing my Disneyland Paris trip report, basically like in a way a sort of review of how I think the trip went. I have 10 questions to answer, and yeah, I just think I'm gonna get on with it because obviously some of the questions might be quite chatty, so prepare yourselves because this could be quite a long video, so I don't actually know how long it will be. So yeah, I just think I'm gonna get started. So question number one, what were your expectations before the trip? I think my expectations were just that it was going to be super magical and I was just going to be having like the best time. Obviously I did go at the same time last year, and the weather last year was very wet, so I sort of used that, and then when I bought my new coat for the trip I obviously bought one with a hood, and yeah, I was sort of expecting it to be wet. It wasn't, thank God. So yeah, in a way I do think this trip was a lot more magical. We had a lot more different experiences, like some of the rides that we didn't get to do last time we did, and we got to see all of our favourite shows. We got to see Tales of Magic, obviously not to its full potential, but yeah, like I just think my expectations for Disneyland Paris are always exceeded. Like, I know a lot of people compare it with Walt Disney World, and obviously I've never been to Walt Disney World, so I don't really have much to compare it to other than like maybe theme parks in the UK. And I may be biased because I've only done like Disneyland Paris and Disney Cruise, but I love Disneyland Paris. Like, there's just something about it, and I think what I love about it is you can get so much done. Sorry, you can get so much done because obviously the parks are so close together. Like the layout of the main park, and then obviously as you exit you've got the studios, you've got Disney Village. If you're staying on site you have all of the hotels close together, so it's just a really good location. There is something very French about it, which I do like it does have that aspect that you obviously you are in France. So it's just super magical, and yeah, definitely exceeded expectations yet again. Question number two, what was the best ride of the trip? Best ride of the trip. So this isn't necessarily like what is my favourite ride at Disneyland Paris, it's what was my favourite of the trip. Oh god, that is so hard because like I said, we got to go on so many of the new rides that we didn't do last time. think, and I know again I'm slightly biased because there is a particular ride at Disneyland Paris that I just simply cannot get enough of. Like, I went on it 3 times. One of my outfits was based on this attraction, and of course, if you haven't guessed, it's just gotta be Phantom Manor for me. Like, it is my favourite ride in the whole world. Like, it's just so amazing. The theming, as I've said so many times on this channel now, especially in this series, is just insane. Like, the stretching room, the doom buggies, the animatronics, like, I smile so much when I'm on that ride. And the fact that I had like a little mini photo shoot as well and met Phantom Mickey twice was just everything to me. But I am also going to say another attraction that I actually surprisingly enjoyed, and that was the I can't remember the name of it. It's the little spinny cars ride in Walt Disney Studios Park. And so me and my friends went on that before me and Jade went to Disneyland Hotel for our Royal Banquet dining. And when we joined the queue, it was quite long. However, the ride had a technical fault as we were in the queue, and because obviously I've worked in a theme park before, I know that usually when they have a fault, the mechanic will come, they'll fix the ride, they'll do a test run, if it's fine, they'll reopen it. So I was like, look, let's just stay in the queue because you never know what happens. Loads of people left the queue. So to say we were quite, like, we had a bit of a wait time, we literally must have waited 5-10 minutes for the queue, and it was so much fun. And when I say so much fun, like, it brought out the same laughter that I do on like Autopia and Slinky Dog, and I loved it. It was so funny. I wish I would have vlogged it because it was just hilarious. Like, it was just really fun. And you know what, I didn't think I'd enjoy it, but to be honest, it wasn't really like a spinny, like it just threw you around, and that's what I really loved about it. And the theming again is just incredible. So I am going to say my favourite rides of the trip were the Cars ride, spinny one, and Phantom Manor. So yeah. Question number 3. How was the weather for this trip, and did it affect your experience? So the weather. Right. The weather on this trip. So I will say the first day in the park, it was quite warm, which I was very surprised about. Like, when we met, I want to say when we met Cowboy Goofy and Chip and Dale in their cowboy outfits, it was really sunny, to the point where like some of my photos I just had to delete because the sun was in my eyes were shut. So yeah. And yeah, like, I was literally just like, especially for the Chip and Dale meet, because I had my Chip and Dale hoodie on, my lanyards and everything, I was like, I sort of want to take my coat off. And you know what, I did, and I wasn't that cold. And it wasn't until like after the meet, when like the sun had gone in, that I started to get cold again. So I literally just put my coat back on. And a few of the cast members that I spoke to, they did say that this was like the coldest February they have had for like a good few years now. But they did say it was one of the driest, so that was a good thing. I do think, and I think as well, when the weather is like that, I just wore my gloves, I wore my hat a lot more, and we just found like stuff to do that was inside, so like Fila Magique, for example, or Pirates of the Caribbean, because when you go inside for Pirates of the Caribbean, it is so warm and it's so nice. Or just like find a show like Lion King or Together, for example. So yeah, there's just stuff to do like all of the time, and that's the good thing about Disneyland Paris. Like the majority of the most popular rides, the queues are inside or like undercover. So yeah, that's a good thing that Disney do well. So yeah. Question number 4. Were there any rides or attractions closed for refurbishment, and did that impact your recent visit? Yes, so there were 2 rides that were closed for refurbishment on this trip. Sorry, my voice is still a bit iffy. One of them was Big Thunder Mountain, which is getting a complete revamp. Like the track is being replaced, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I still haven't been on Big Thunder Mountain in like, well, I went on it in 2017, but I haven't been on it since because it was closed last year and it was closed this year. So yeah, hopefully next time I go to Disneyland Paris, it will be open again and I will be able to go on it because it is so much fun and yeah, love it. But one of my and I will say this now, my favourite thrill attraction at Disney is Star Tours. Now, sadly, this was one of the rides that was shut on our trip. Literally closed the day we had park tickets. So we couldn't go on it at all, which was very, very sad because I do love Star Tours a lot. So yeah, it does make me excited to like get back on it again, hopefully next time I visit. So yeah, it is a bit sad. To be honest, I don't really think it did impact the trip. Like obviously there are other rides you can do, so it's not the end of the world. And obviously it did give us the chance to like do the rides that we didn't get to do last time. For example, one of our first rides was, well, it was the first ride of a trip for me and Jade. We decided to do Peter Pan's Flight because we both wanted to do it and we hadn't done it before, and it was really fun. And to be honest, the queue wasn't that long. So yeah. And then literally after that we did the carousel, again, very fun ride, and we didn't have to wait at all. So yeah, like there's just other stuff to do. So, and the good thing about it is they do say like which rides are going to be closed, so you can sort of plan around that in a way. So yeah, it didn't really have an impact on me, I don't think. Question number 5. How did this visit compare to previous trips to Disneyland Paris? I do think this was my favourite trip to Disney. I know obviously last year we had the amazing Million Splashes of Colour, and like that was insane to see that on preview day. But there was something about this trip, I think, because we took it a bit more chilled and like we knew what we wanted to do, and yes, it was busy, but to be honest, I loved this trip so much. Like getting to see the parades, finally getting to see Tales of Magic. I don't like, everything was just, and not many of my friends know this, but literally when we were walking to the parks the very first morning, as soon as I saw the Disneyland Hotel, I just started crying. and like I didn't cry at all on the last trip, I don't think. I could be wrong. But to me, like, that made me cry the most, and I was just like, what's going on? And I think because it had obviously hit me that we were here, and I was just like a mess. But honestly, like, this trip had so many incredible memories, and I hope I managed to capture that in the vlog. Like, I just had the most magical time, and I do really miss it. Like, I miss the parks, I miss all of my friends, like Sensational Six, you know who you are, love you all. Yeah, just, and I do think I'm gonna say, no offence to the guys, like Paul, Alex, Kian, sorry, but one of my favourite memories from the trip, it wasn't my favourite character meet of the trip, but it was still really funny, was the Goofy meet in Newport Bay. Because the night we decided not to see the fireworks and we went to Billy Bob's, not the buffet, but like the bar bit. I don't know what it's called. If I've got that wrong, I apologise. But me, Emma and Jade decided to go and meet Goofy. Well, to be honest, we didn't really know who it was going to be. We knew it was going to be like one of the main characters. And it was Goofy. And obviously I had met him before in that costume, so I was like, okay, I'm happy to meet Goofy. And it was so cute, and I think the fact that me, Emma and Jade were all together, and the fact that like Jade obviously knew Emma a lot more, and it was just really, really lovely and such a good night. And I definitely think for me that was one of my favourite nights of the whole trip. It was just amazing, and I'll never forget it. And then to go and have cocktails and food in Billy Bob's was just a lovely way to end. So yeah, really, really good. Really enjoyed it. Okay, question number 6. What restaurants or food stalls did you try? So on this trip we tried, I've got to think now, which ones did we do? We did Bistro Chez Remy, which was amazing. The theming in that restaurant is just second to none. We did Royal Banquet, Plaza Gardens Character Breakfast, Billy Bob's, Earl of Sandwich, McDonald's, the food stall out in Disney Village when I got my chocolate strawberries because they're my favourite snack. Hyperion, Videopolis, yeah. Why do I feel like I'm missing out a place? I think that was it, I want to say. Yeah. And you know what? I do think the restaurants this trip were just sensational. Like, and I think because I'd saved up a lot more money, it allowed me to eat in like more extravagant places, let's just say. We did have Pim booked, but me and Jade both decided we want to try something a bit different because we'd already eaten there. So yeah, we did end up cancelling that and then like rebooking somewhere else. But you know what? That's what I love. Like, it's so easy to like change your plans. And the places we ate on this trip were amazing. Like, that soup and the chicken and the ratatouille in Bistro Chez Remy was like some of the nicest food I've ever had, and the service was just like amazing. And I have always wanted to eat in that restaurant, and like, because that ride is one of my favourites out of the whole of Walt Disney Studios Park, like, it's just amazing. And then to do the ride single rider and literally wait like 5-10 minutes, it was just really, really amazing. And yeah, I love that restaurant. Question number 7. That brings me on nicely to the next question. What were your character dining experiences like even, and would you book them again? So, this trip, we didn't just have one character dining experience, but we booked 2. So, when I booked the trip, I added on the Plaza Gardens character breakfast because I had heard amazing stuff about that breakfast, and I was like, you know what, I just want to book it. And because obviously we had added it on as an extra, we didn't have to pay when we went, which was nice. But it was just amazing, and like the characters that we had, and I think because we booked the earlier one as well, to just see Disneyland Park so empty was amazing. Like, it was such a good experience. And like, all of the characters in that restaurant were sensational. Like, if you have seen my top 10 Disney character meets from that trip, like, the fact that the Goofy hug happened again in this exactly the same restaurant was just, it blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then to have Donald and Daisy be there as well, it was just like, I had a feeling it was going to be them there because a lot of people had said that they had seen them at the breakfast, and I was just like, oh, my favourite characters could potentially be there. And then when the characters came round and I saw them, I was just like, okay, very happy. And they were, I want to give a special shout out to Donald for this dining because he was simply adorable. And the thing is with Donald, if you're not wearing anything with him on, or like you have ears of a different character, usually he's not very impressed. And I had my Minnie Mouse ears on and then forgot that they had a Daisy on. And then when the cast member who was with Donald pointed it out, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And the interactions with Donald in that meet were just the best. And because obviously that day was our last day in the parks, like we were leaving that evening, I was like, I want to tell a character that it's our last day. And Donald just stood out throughout the whole breakfast, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna tell him. And I did. And then literally, like, as me and Jade stood up to leave, I think Donald was with another family, and he saw us like stand up, and he came back over and just gave me the biggest hug ever. And I was like, try not to cry, try not to cry, try not to cry. And it was just so cute and such a lovely end. And like, he just blew me kisses, was waving at me. And I was just like, oh, I love Donald so much. So yeah. And then like eating at the Royal Banquet inside the Disneyland Hotel, that was amazing in itself. But hands down, the best food I have ever had in Disney. Like, the care and attention to the food was just something else. Like, it was amazing. It was such good quality. The characters were amazing. Like, every single one of them, I do not have a bad word to say. Like, literally as we sat down and I took my coat off, Mickey just came straight over to us. And I was just like, okay, this is amazing, love it. And their little outfits were the cutest I have ever seen, especially Minnie. Like, I know I was in my Daisy Duck bound, and like, Daisy was amazing. Like, I don't have a bad word to say about her. Donald was hilarious. He was on top form. Mickey was just adorable. But for me, there was just something about Minnie in this dining experience that just, she was epic. She was just so cute. And yeah, I had the best time. And yeah, and the fact I got to vlog with Minnie and the clip is just the cutest thing ever. And some of my photos, like, I loved it. I really loved it. Would I book them again? Yeah, you know what? I do think I would. And because, spoiler alert, I am planning a birthday trip to Disneyland Paris for next year for my 29th? Yeah, 29th birthday. Scary. Yeah, I want to go again. Of course I do. It's me. And I I can't wait to just plan it all. And I do think, because we are looking into getting a meal plan, I do think I would book Royal Banquet again, but I do think this time I'd do the dinner. So yeah, I I love it. And the character breakfast is just so much fun. So highly recommend both of them. Question number 8. This is a hard one. What was the highlight of your trip? I don't know. Like, there was so many amazing experiences that we had, and there were just so many unexpected ones as well. Like, I had obviously like certain character meets planned. I had like certain rides I wanted to do on certain days, certain photos I wanted, and like I managed to get so much done in the space of, and I do think staying one night before we had park tickets was a great idea. um I oh, I don't know. I do think I might have to do a top 3. I know it does say what was my highlight, so I'm gonna say exploring the Disneyland Hotel as one, because last time we went, I don't think we were allowed in it because it wasn't open to like all like Disney guests. So to like get to explore that, take photos, go in the shop, like it was just amazing. Oh, this is so hard. I'm gonna say another highlight was seeing some of my favourite shows like Lion King, Together, because Together has my heart, and taking part in the Doctor Strange like skills workshop thing. That was really funny. And then to like show Black Panther in the heroic encounter what I'd learned was just brilliant. But yeah, I am gonna say my favourite highlight was just being with all my friends again. And I know it was the same for the last trip, but because we don't really see each other that much, like obviously I do see Jade a lot because like we go on like trips and stuff, but I don't get to see Paul and Alex, and I don't get to see Emma and Kian that much. And I really like it when we're all together because we just have the best time. Like, this trip was just full of laughter, and like it was just so magical. And I think to go with friends who you've made through Disney, like Disney are who brought us all together. And like I think in a way that's why I have such an emotional connection to like Together, because it reminds me of my friends. And then like I will say even though we didn't get the drones and it wasn't to its full potential, I did really enjoy Tales of Magic. Like, I did. It was really good. And I think where we stood was a good location, and seeing like all the projection mapping on Main Street. I still need to see it with the drones, so I will watch that on YouTube at some point. But yeah, it was just so magical and so amazing. So yeah. Question number 9. Which character meet was your favourite and why? Yeah. This meet in particular, for me, if you guys have seen my top 10 character meet video, you will know who I'm about to say. So, I have a very big obsession with a Goofy movie, and me and Paul are exactly the same. So Paul, if you're watching, I think you know who I'm on about. And like, it's my favourite Disney film. It's just everything, and like, it's the most underrated as well, just saying. And one of the characters who I have a very big obsession over, like very big, and who deserves a lot more recognition than he gets, is Max Goof. And one of the hotels we stayed at this trip was Sequoia Lodge. And the main reason for me booking this particular hotel was that there was a tiny chance, very tiny chance, that I could meet Max Goof on the morning. And literally, day 3, who turned up but Max? And I was so excited because he's just the cutest character ever. Like, I know I say Donald is my number 1 and everything, like Chip and Dale are my favourite duo. There was something about this meet with Max that just topped it up. Like, topped every single character meet I had this trip. Like, it was just everything. And he was so cute, and for me to like tell him just how much I'd always wanted to meet him, and I'll be like, and now I have, like, I've met you. And he was swooning, he was blowing me kisses, he was drawing me like love hearts, and I was just like, this is the best. And then he, like, one of the photos we had, which is one of my favourite photos, and I think, yeah, let me just turn my brightness down before I show it, is that one of me kissing his nose, and it's just the cutest, like, cutest little photo ever. I love it. And like, I do think Jade could tell how excited I was because I love Max. And yeah, like, filming a clip after that, like walking out the hotel on our way to the park, so like the best day, because in a way I do think that day was one of my favourites. So yeah, it was just magical and I loved it. So yeah. Right, the final question: would you recommend any of the hotels you stayed at for this trip to people? Yeah, I would. So the hotel we stayed at on the day we didn't have park tickets was Newport Bay, aka my favourite resort I have ever stayed in. I love this hotel so much. I love the theming, I love the shop, I love the beds. Like, the beds in Newport Bay are just like so well made, like the theming, it's like the hotel is stunning, and especially at night when they light it up, they light up the lighthouse, it's just beautiful. And the character meets being on an evening are just like, we met Mickey, Goofy and Daisy, and every single meet in that hotel was just the best. And then staying at Sequoia. I really liked Sequoia. I will say this now, it's not my favourite. The theming is cute. However, I do think it is very dated. It has got that cozy vibe, and I do really like the character setup for the character meets. Yeah, like we met Donald, Minnie and Max, like I just said. And it is a lovely hotel, and it does have that cozy, warm feeling, especially because it was so cold on our trip. Like, to come back into that hotel and for it to just be really, really warm was heaven. So yeah, I do think I would recommend Sequoia, and I did love the fact we were in one of the lodges. Like, it was really cute. And yeah, I will say now, the shop wasn't brilliant. Like, they didn't have a lot of merch, and it was mainly like the same stuff in the parks. Like, the Newport Bay merch shop is insane. Like, I love that shop so much. But yeah, so that was my Disneyland Paris trip report video. I really hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you're all looking forward to my Disney Cruise series, because I can't believe that it's this year. It's literally in like just under 6 months, which is insane to say, like insane. I can't actually believe it. But yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Every little bit helps, and thank you all again for all of your support. But for now, this is Redhead Boo signing off. Bye!